My name is Naomi Velasquez, and I am a fiber, paper, and book artist. And the work that's included in this exhibit is included with the Studio Art Quilt Associates, which I've involved with that group for a long time. They're amazing people and a super great community. And I've been a textile artist since I want to say the year maybe 2000. After I graduated from my undergraduate degree in design, I started making art quilts. I use my grandmother's sewing machine. So super important to me. It's a 1980s Bernina, and I use a machine for a lot of the art quilt work that I do. More recently, I've been using fabrics that I digitally design and alter. So I use a dye space at the college where I work. So I dye things. The piece that I have in the exhibit has soy wax batik in it. So I put wax on it and then dyed it and washed it out. So I do it kind of here at home at my home studio, and I also do it at my school studio. So I have multiple workspaces. I would say in some senses it's different than like a painter, sometimes. So I have colleagues who are painters and they just kind of like go with the flow and they're painting and they make all these layers and then they cover up something and they start over and they have all this kind of flexibility. As a textile artist, I feel like often I have to plan a little bit further ahead because if I don't dye the right amount of fabric, I'm probably never going to get that color right again, quite honestly. So I'll often over dye and I have to do a lot of math trying to figure out where I'm going. I don't always know the entire process, but I definitely have a pretty good layout by the time I start a piece. So a lot of design decisions are already made. Um, there's obviously like parts of the process that are surprising and interesting and unexpected. But I definitely kind of have a plan to know where I'm going, kind of based on materiality. Like for the needs that I have for the piece, I need to kind of know where I'm headed. The title of my piece, it's actually about bees. And so the piece, I name a lot of my pieces with French names just because my mom was a French teacher. And so that's literally the secret, is that sometimes it's fun to use a different word that maybe people understand and maybe they have to think about and maybe process. So I'm fine with it being a little surprise. So my piece is about the bees and their ecosystem. And this piece I started with some digitally printed fabric that actually was vintage botanical designs of specific pollinators here in Idaho. So these plants are specific pollinators that are native to Idaho. And so I printed those out on fabric and then I dyed them um, to alter them. And then I also did soy wax batik on the whole thing, making little kind of bee hexagons. And then I also painted silhouettes of bees on top with fabric paint before actually getting to stitching. So sometimes there's a lot of prep work that I do before actually stitching. So a lot of people think like quilts are just a lot of stitching, but there's a lot of sewing and other things that happen before that. So this piece is based on the bees and their ecosystems, specifically in Idaho, and things we need to preserve to keep the bees' habitats alive and growing. And I actually hand stitched this piece, which I don't normally do. So this one, it needed some, I thought, some hand stitching on the bees hexagons. And so it's actually hand quilted, which I hardly ever do. I usually am a machine quilter. I think that this one's really accessible, right? It's kind of in your face about what it's about. I often make work that's a little more abstracted and you kind of have to look a little deeper. But this piece, I really wanted it to be something that said something about a topic I care about, which is environment and our bees specifically. So this one, I hope that people maybe take away an awareness of what's happening environmentally in the Intermountain West in our region, along with the other pieces that are going to talk about a lot of cool other topics in this exhibition. It's a very diverse exhibition, so I hope that they get a sense of maybe wonder and joy at looking at all the artwork. Um, gosh, a lot of things. Being an artist means, I think, joy in a lot of ways. I'm a teaching artist, so I am a professor at Idaho State University, and so I get to teach all the things that I make in life, and so I get to share and constantly learn from all of my students. So every time they get to like see a new process, like indigo dying, like I get to kind of see that joy and excitement with them. So being an artist for me is sharing and learning and making. It's also my way of surviving this world. Um, you can tell I get really itchy when I'm not in my studio. I need to get back there often to keep working so that I can kind of process what's happening in the world, stay sane. Again, though, I really find joy in being a teaching artist because I get to share and to make. The world is full of people that want to share. So I think that textile artists in particular and fiber artists in particular are a very, very, very generous group of individuals. You can meet someone or you can ask them how they did something, and they will tell you extensively in precise detail about how they did something they want to share, they want to teach. Nobody is trying to keep it a secret. Like we want to share that information. So I would say there's community groups in every town I've ever lived in of textile artists. You might even just find the local spinning and weaving group, and they might have, quilters in their group. There's also quilt guilds all over the United States that are happy to share and teach people awesome things. Um, there's also conferences and classes and workshops, and I learned so much when I started seriously quilting in Austin, Texas. The Austin Quilters Guild was phenomenal because they brought in teachers and workshops and artists and all these amazing people that I could learn from, both in the local community and national teaching artists that I got to learn stuff from. So I would say there's a lot of cool things in the world and ways that people can join in their community. The other thing would be quilt shops. So every, hopefully, town has quilt shops and places where people can get together, buy fabric, learn how to do things, get tutorials on machines or other things you might want to use to create artwork. I'm a big proponent of daily art. So kind of hacking away at it every single day. So this year, like many other years, I participated in daily art projects. So this year, my daily art project is just to be in my studio 20 minutes a day and post it on Instagram as my accountability piece. So for example, it doesn't matter what I do for that 20 minutes. And it's never just 20 minutes. So that's my secret is that once I get there and it's my time to like do a little bit of work, um, I'm always going to work longer than that. Just that's my like goal is like, okay, I only have to do this for 20 minutes, and that'll keep me in the zone and keep me motivated and keep me making progress, meeting my goals and all the things that I want to do. 20 minutes is a small amount of time, I think, to keep myself going and keep progressing and practicing in my sketchbook or on work. Sometimes the 20 minutes is applying to an exhibition, which is not as fun. And so then I try to do something creative in addition to that, just to try to make sure that I actually get to make something because I think it really helps to keep your body in the zone of practice.